I'm Sarah Kais, and this is a quick introduction to the educational technology tool MindMeister, which is based on the concept of mind mapping. So first, an introduction of mind mapping. So let's talk a little bit more about what a mind map is. Mind mapping was developed by Tony Buzan in the 70s. It's a way of organizing information visually using diagrams, pictures, and words. It's visual representations of the management and structuring of thought and distills information, organizes it visually, and actually represents a natural function of the human mind. It is the idea of irradiating simultaneously imaginative and structured thinking and leverages multiple cortical skills. So how does mind map leverage learning? Well, first, it takes advantage of what's called metacognition, because it requires reflection and self-regulation. And as you're mind mapping, you are conscious or self-conscious of what you're thinking and how that's translating onto the page or onto the web page, as it were. Learners use a visual process to be separated from the thinking process and at the same time observe it. And this leads to analysis, which is a higher level of Bloom's taxonomy. Mind mapping also leverages cognitive psychology. It harnesses both the left and right hemispheres of the brain. It's also related to radiant thinking, which is where we use our whole brain to think of associations driven by some central concept. It requires critical thinking, organizational skills, analysis, and it facilitates organization. Finally, mind mapping is related to learning through constructivism, which holds that learning means the assimilation of new knowledge with past experiences. How is mind mapping related to teaching? Well, we can use it to make and update our notes for a teaching session, to actually teach a session, which I'll demonstrate in just a moment, or as an assessment tool. Spencer, Anderson, and Ellis used it in problem-based learning, deciphering case studies, developing plans of care, evaluations of health promotion activities, to synthesize disease processes, and to formulate differential diagnoses. One of the advantages of mind mapping is that it can be used for diverse learning styles. Generally, it can be used for note-taking, studying, assessment, prioritizing, and even for curriculum mapping. So MindMeister is pretty intuitive to sign up for. It has several versions. There's a free version and then there's some paid versions with more features. The free version allows you to make 3 mind maps and use some of the features. And you can just sign up using your Gmail, which makes it really easy to sign in. Once you're in, you go to a dashboard, and the dashboard has maps that you've created in the past. And then up here at the top, you can use either templates or just a blank template to make other mind maps. So let's just go ahead and make one for a demonstration. So you'll see it automatically creates this screen with a central concept, and then over here are some tools that you can use. So you put your central concept in the middle, and then using the Enter key, you then create your sub-themes or your major branches. And then if you want to add further branches off of those, you press Tab and then Enter to enter even more branches. One of the coolest features of MindMeister is that you can enter notes for other readers to look at or comments. And you can also provide YouTube links, and you can also put files in, so you can link papers or pictures or other types of files, although that requires you to have the paid version. You can also add emojis, colors, different fonts, and then connect concepts using arrows, for example. So, and then when you're done with your mind map, you're able to share a link to it for students or other people interested, or your social media. You can also create a presentation out of it And then you can also export it. You can export it as a PDF or a Microsoft Word file or even a PowerPoint. You can add pictures like I did in the introduction as we saw, or if you want to see the link that I've created, you can click this and it goes to a YouTube video about how to create mind maps. So now let's look at a demonstration of how to use MindMeister in the classroom. What I did is used it in a small group session with the students where they are learning to take information from a patient's history, and they're learning how to actually take a history and weave it into a history of present illness, and then eventually they'll be formulating differentials and a plan for that patient as well. So I had the students, two students had seen the same patient. I had them ask each other questions. All of the students in the group asked the students who had seen those patients questions relevant to the main components of the write-up. And I made the main components of the write-up the main parts of the, or main sub-themes and branches. And then as they were collecting information, I had them move their differentials around based on the information that was being collected. So here's them doing that. They were moving. So obviously they really enjoyed it. They were moving pulmonary embolism down in their differential list based on the information that they were gathering from their classmates and the visual representation of that information. So obviously they really enjoyed the use, and that's great because there can be discomfort when students are first encountering a tool like this. Gonzalez et al. Actually found that that can lead to decreased self-esteem and motivation. But if you demonstrate first as a faculty, that can help to counteract that discomfort. And if the students understand why you're using it before they're using it, that can also help to counteract that discomfort. So does it actually help them integrate information? Well, several studies have demonstrated equal or superior retention and recall when students are using mind mapping. And it's also been studied in nursing students. The nursing students preferred mind mapping as it helped them see a more holistic view of the patient. And even when students used mind maps made by faculty, they performed better on assessments. There are some limitations though. I wish I could have had this on a bigger screen, for example, so the AV setup in the room is important. And also faculty can be uncomfortable using a tool like this. I definitely had to be on the fly using it because I had never used it before. So that's MindMeister, and as a visually preferenced learner, apparently, I obviously really love this EdTech tool. I'm going to link to MindMeister right here, and then I'm also going to provide a link to the mind map for this assignment, which includes my references as well as pictures and links to some of the papers I read and just some pictures if you're also visually preferenced. Thanks, bye.